Sup guys, sorry we had a temporary glitch with our, what do you call it, the streaming software, but we're back. Abhinav,
We're fixed.
yeah Abhinav, why did you lose the mustache?
New year, new me.
You're gonna keep this look for the entire year?
I don't know. I'm still testing, We're testing our personas on social. That's what I'm actively doing that. And I have in very interesting stats, what's happening is when I put on this look, I got 40 people giving me a no. I didn't even ask for any responses, but I got 40 no's. Turns out 99% of those no's were men, and I got about 15, oh, you're looking young, you've aged backwards, and you've done this. And those 15 people have 80% been women. Interesting stats I'm noting. I don't know what that says about human psychology, but yeah.
But you look like Rancho.
That's a man speaking.
Alright guys, so, today's topic is
Personal.
Is a personal one because I think Abhinav's faced with this problem. I faced this problem. If my mom's watching, hi mom, you've given me a lot of problems. But we'll also tell you how to tackle it because at the end of the day, we both got our way, right? But I feel like there's this huge segment of India that has middle class parents, where the middle class parents have this set idea of what their children should do, and the children are born in a completely different age. Most of you watching this are native to the internet. Right? Your entire opportunities, jobs, scenario, everything is different, right? So in this video, we want to tell you how you can firstly convince your parents of that it's a different world, and also let you be the adult that you are supposed to be as you grow up, right? So that's what we want to talk about in this video. Abhinav, what do you got?
I think we requested people to bring their parents along, and if you have brought your parents along, why don't you, ask them to hit the bell icon as well, and then we can get started with the episode. My father might be watching it live, and I have a sister who's probably going into something like this. So this is crazy live social experiment for me as well. I might be, preaching something to them live right now. So let's start with the base grounds, and this is for the kids out there. Guys, you need to understand that at a basic level, at a base human level, what are humans living for? And it has
Money.
Not money. It's not social constructs like money. Money is, you keep hearing this thing, right? Money is a means to something. So what are humans at the core living for? They're living for their family, they're living for their friends, and they're living for the aspirations, the khwabs of the world that I want to achieve, not the ladders I want to climb, but the castles I want to build. So you need to see that your family is also living for you. The reciprocation of love is indeed there in your parents. They're not your enemies, and you tend to sometimes forget that. Your parents, they've had a very weird relationship with you. Why is this relationship weird? Look at the relationships that are around you and look at how they started. They more or less remain consistent. You don't change the perception about the other person much. But look at the relationship you and your parents have had. They've known you since you were a baby. They've known you since your day one, and they've had a certain perception about you. And now they know you when you're 16-year-old. And it's been a very weird relationship because this relationship is crazily dynamic, because it's not like any other relationship. They have to keep changing their parenting patterns with you growing up. And they have to come to terms with, okay, bro, you were a child 15 years ago, I'm 40 or I'm 50. Out of that last 15 years ago, I treated you a different way. I kept changing, but now you're an adult, and I have to come to terms with the fact that you can have your own differing thoughts. So this is where I think the problem actually lies. I think I try to paint a picture of what's really happening. Not like your parents hate you, but you also have to understand where they're coming from. So how do we deal with this relationship? I want you to throw the point one.
Yeah, so look, firstly, unless you're in a very, very, very bad household, it's very rare, your parents love you. It might come across in the wrong way. They might not know how to say it. In some cases, in some instances, your parents might not be able to articulate it. They might never say, I love you or I care about you, but internally they feel it, right? So I think that's the first thing to keep in your head, that it's not you versus an enemy. It's you versus somebody who really cares about you, but who is not seeing the world the exact same way as you. Today on social media, we have this understanding that if somebody sees the world in a different way, they are your enemy, right? You've seen all these, everything that's going on social media, Trump getting banned, the Capitol fires, whatever it is. It's all happening because two sets of people don't agree on things, right? And it's the same thing between you and your parents, except with you and your parents, there's this underlying layer of love. There's this underlying layer of, hey, we are related by blood, right? So that's your basic. That if you're a parent watching this, if you're a child watching this, that's your underlying current, right? You really care about each other. But that being said, there are differences in your worldview. And even though your parents will never, ever, ever be able to see the world in your worldview, and neither will you ever be able to see the world in your parents' worldview, it is important for you to find middle ground. And I think that's the first step, right? What is the middle ground? What is, if you believe that the future is you being a YouTuber, and your parents believe that the future is you being a peon at a bank, then you need to find a middle ground. You need to convince your parents of why being a YouTuber is either a value add to you, even if you're a bank employee, you could still be a YouTuber, or you need to say, hey, I will first do both roles. If my YouTube career does well, I'm going to switch to a YouTube career. And if my YouTube career doesn't do well, I have a backup, right? So those are the middle ground style conversations that you should be having rather than absolutism, right? A lot of kids today are just absolute about this. They're like, I want to do this. It's my passion. You are a parent. You don't understand the world. Bye-bye. Your parents might not understand this incarnation of the world, but there's certain rules of the world that are basic and constant. And this college has done a bad job of teaching you, right? I'll give you an example. College teaches us that the world is fair. The world is not fair. The world is basically a bunch of people who are constantly trying to take advantage of each other. It's a brutal world out there, right? And there can always be the possibility that you completely fall, go into poverty, really struggle to make your next meal. It's all possible. And your parents have seen that because your parents have seen a version of India, or if you're from outside of India, a version of the world, which has not been where it is right now, where abundance wasn't possible, where people really struggled. And India was this constant vision of poverty. Like everywhere you went out, there were people who were suffering, figuring out where to get their next meal. It was a horrible version of the country. And your parents are scarred by that, right? And especially if your parents are born in the 1960s, 1970s, I assume that's when they were born, or maybe even earlier, they were reeling from the hangover effects of the independence, of India getting independence, of just this entire colonial era, and then this small amount of a breather where we had to independently figure everything out. Till then we had the Britishers tell us, do this, do that, right? And suddenly they came in and they said, hey, we're gone.
Make your own choices.
Yeah, make your own choices, right? So technically your parents' era were growing up, right? So you need to understand that they went through their own struggles, they're scarred by those struggles, and sometimes, actually most of the times, most of the decisions they push towards your way come from those struggles. Like, I read this quote on Twitter, this thread on Twitter which went viral. This guy was like, he's like 40 years old or something. He's like, almost every successful person I met went to college. So how can you say college is bad, right? Now, you have to hear the nuance in the statement. The nuance of the statement is probably true for his era, right? But when did college go out of fashion? When did college start becoming less useful, right? It's post-internet, and not even post-internet, post-high-speed internet.
Post-2010.
Right.
In fact, post-2015.
Yeah, somewhere
it's a very
in the last 5-6 years, has it become like, an actuality that you can say, hey, I don't want to go to college.
Less than 10% of your parents' lifetime. Like 5 years is nothing. They want solid evidence.
And they're not looking at it.
Yeah,
and they're not.
It stood true for 45 years and beyond. How can 5 years take it away?
Yeah, and remember, they're in their own echo chamber, right? They're getting their WhatsApp forwards, they're reading their newspapers. And if you are a parent, you need a diverse diet of information. Just like you need a diverse diet of food to be healthy, you need a diverse diet of information. If you just read Economic Times, Times of India, and get your WhatsApp forwards, you will never see what's happening on the other side of the world. And there's this whole huge, other side of the world that your children are seeing, and vice versa with you, right? If you're a child watching this, what is the opposite? The opposite is you have no idea what your parents' world color looks like. right? And it's your responsibility to kind of find out what it is.
Okay.
Right? How does that begin?
So I want to summarize because that was quite a long point. What you're trying to say, I think Varun was typically laying a level playing field for the both of you, so that you have an open chat. So level playing field comes with all of these basic assumptions. You say your parents haven't tried to understand you, you've not tried to understand them either, and this was a great lesson in understanding what your parents' life has been over the last 40, 50, 60 years that they've been on this planet. So now, again, understand one last thing. I want to just give an emotional close to it. Your parents are passionate about you. I mean, they're obsessed about you. They want you to have a successful life and a fulfilling life, and they're doing all they can to do that. And in that, a critical factor in ensuring your success is something called a career decision, and that's where you seem to have a clash. But understand their bigger goals are the same as you. So we come to the second point. What should you do now in that level playing field? In that level playing field, play like adults. You be an adult. Ask for a conversation, ask for an open chat, because what's been happening so far, this is for you kids and parents, for you to understand the mindset. What's been happening so far is you've either been submissive, you've taken their thought process and decisions at their face value and you've accepted it, but also there's a rebel inside you, or you've been rebellious. You've been that kid that, okay, I want this. What Varun was talking about is, don't be like, okay, don't play into extremities. Don't use words like, I want this for my entire life, or I won't do this if you don't do this. Don't use always and never and my way or your way. Absolutism. Don't use absolutism. Come to this level playing field, and both of you guys advocate your choices. Play it like a lawyer, play it like an advocate, and advocate your interest out. That I want you to become an engineer, you want to become a YouTuber or content creator. They're not bad content creators. So many people have made money, but your parents don't understand that. So I want you to become an engineer because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You also put your points down. And then play it like an adult. What I mean by play it like an adult, have the confidence in you. Adopt a mature stance. What does maturity mean? That you're confident, you're not second guessing your things, and you're putting a tough front in front of your parents and telling them that, bro or daddy, I've grown up. Mom, I've grown up. I'm an adult. I have different views. And be consistent. Again, be confident and be consistent. Don't second guess your things, at least not on the stage, not in the playing field. And hence open a decision where you're advocating your things. Give them the surety that you're willing to understand them. When you show them that you're willing to understand them, they will feel like reciprocating. They will want to understand you as well.
Basically, in Hindi, you say ziddi mat karo. Like, try to find a
Ziddi mat ho.
Ziddi mat ho. Right? Like,
zid mat karo.
Yeah, don't throw a tantrum. Right?
Yeah.
And one thing that I think, just to add on to what Abhinav's been saying, is use the right terminology. There was this era when me and my parents used to fight about, which college I'm going to, whether I'm going to start up or not or whatever, stuff like that. One of the things we realized when we started having these arguments, me and my parents, was we're not using the right terminology. Like when I use the word engineer, it is very different from the way my parents were using the word engineer. In my parents' mind, an engineer was somebody who studied hard, worked in Infosys, worked on actual core problems. When I said engineering is bad, when I constantly keep saying engineering is bad, I was saying, in fact, not that engineering is bad. I love the idea of engineering, of building and breaking things, putting it together. What I hated was engineering colleges, the way engineering is taught. So when I constantly kept telling my parents engineering sucks, I wasn't saying engineering sucks. I was actually, in my head, what I wanted to say was engineering colleges are teaching poorly. I am receiving poor education, which is what I don't like. Right? And my parents, when they use the word engineering, were thinking more of the Infosys guy. So that's what the mental picture of the same words that we were using were different. So for example, if you're talking to your parents and saying, hey, you want to be a content creator and having a personal brand is so important in 2021 and 2022, without that you're not going to get opportunities. If you explain it like that, it's better. If you just say, mujhe YouTuber banna hai, your parents will think you are going to, wear a sari and like wink and make comedy Vine videos and TikToks. That's what your parents think, right? So you need to try to show them
a plan
and what you actually mean when you use the word content creator or YouTuber. right? Because their version of YouTuber is just the Economic Times version of YouTuber. This YouTuber, PewDiePie, makes so much money. This YouTuber got in this controversy. Because what does the news report? Right? They only report controversies and, what is the success rate, failure rate, etc.
To be honest, nothing bad being PewDiePie. He's making a lot of money, but
yeah, PewDiePie is an extreme. I'm just talking about like the average content creator doesn't make much money.
And your parents are not reading that news. They only have a limited view of YouTube
Economic
as
Times
well.
is not going to tell you about PewDiePie. That you will get from your news. Economic Times will tell them this business tycoon made this much money. This engineer, this is the average engineer CTC.
You guys are already consuming different news.
Yeah, so you are in different bubbles, and the way to connect two different bubbles is to merge the words. All bubbles are using the same words. Is to merge the words. Is to say my engineering is actually very different from your engineering. So let's put it together, and explain what engineering means. So now you're on the same page, right? And that's why I really like the idea of telling your parents via a slide deck, or write a Google Docs or a Notion doc or whatever, right? Make a slide deck, make a Notion doc, and say, this is what I mean. These are the career opportunities. And one thing that Abhinav said, which I kind of disagree with, is you said that be confident at least on the playing stage. I don't believe at 18 or 20 years old you can be confident about your career prospects. You have no idea.
No, but what I meant was you can be confident about taking the responsibility, whatever may come. Like, I'm confident of going all in this choice, and I bear the repercussions. I'll ensure that it doesn't translate to you.
Yeah, but the thing is, I know, like you at 25, 26, whatever, you're able to say it internally because now you believe it, right? You've worked in the industry for a long time. But an 18-year-old will not believe it, and he will not have the confidence to believe it.
Okay, tell me, what do you have?
The solution is to actually show vulnerabilities, to say, I'm not confident about this. This is my branched out game plan, right? I need 3 years. Like, buy time. I think the best thing you can do at the age of 21, 22, 23, when you have differences with your parents, is to say, give me 3 years. I'll figure it out in 3 years. It also gives you a clock to adhere to, so that you don't take forever and become a useless person. Say 3 years, I'm going to figure this out. If I don't figure this out, then it's your way. So first is my way, then it's your way. Say, I'm not saying no to your way, but let's do it in a serial fashion, right? Or sometimes in a parallel fashion. I'll do YouTube content, but at the same time, I'll also study engineering and become an engineer just to please you, right? So it's all about negotiations with your parents, and the problem is most kids don't make it a negotiation, and most parents are just not. They just say, "Oh,
they're not open to hear you."
No one's open to negotiations, right? So open it to negotiations. Today in the world, we can see that without negotiations, what is politics? It's basically constant negotiation, right? And the average citizen is not good at it. It's time to get good at it, because the same skills, believe it or not, will be valuable in the real world. Whether you become a content creator or an engineer, the ability to negotiate, the ability to get everyone on the same page is the most critical skill to making money, believe it or not, right? But
I want to actually draw actionable out of what you said, is treat it like a negotiation. Treat it like a pitch, make a deck, be like, this is my plan, and then ask for a time. Because see, your parents have invested in you, they've sacrificed so much for you. They obviously want to control a little bit of you. So it's okay. And you completely shifting away from that is going to disappoint your parents, and you'll feel like you're letting them down because they did so much. So the answer to that is, number one, have a plan. Takeaway one, have a plan. You get clarity when you write things. Varun said you can communicate better. You can choose the right words. You can visualize the problem when you're writing or drawing or presenting on a slide deck. Once you can do that, great. Towards the end of that slide deck, talk about the timing clause. Be like, okay, guys, you've shaped me for 18 years. I want 18 months off, and whatever. Again, be like, okay, if you can support me, great. But if you cannot support me, I'll bear the repercussions, or I'll support myself. But these 18 months, let me be okay with not pleasing you. But after 18 months, we'll come back to it. At the end of the day, they need to understand that fulfillment is different for everyone. Their idea of success, as we've kept saying it again and again, is very different from your idea of success. So be like, we're all chasing fulfillment. You're chasing my happiness. I don't want our relationship to go stale later on in the
and
life.
These relationships can be fixed, to be honest. Like, even if your parents hate you for 6 months a
yeah,
year,
be okay to disappoint them for 18 months.
Yeah, you can disappoint them in the short term.
Might not please you for the 18 months. After that, we'll again re-engage in this thing. But let me take this off.
If you're going to be a people pleaser, right? You want everyone happy all the time, you'll never become successful.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes you should be okay with disappointing people who don't understand your long-term vision and then come back, because your parents will rarely understand, right? And it's in fact almost impossible for them to understand. Like if you had gone to your parents and said, Mom, I've created an app, it's called Snapchat, pictures disappear, your parents would be like, you're stupid. Right?
They'll get you a job.
But then now it's $1 billion company. So how many such ideas have failed to make it out in the ecosystem because somebody was afraid of disappointing their parents? The easiest way to disappoint your parents, right? And I know this is advice that parents don't want to hear, but if you want to disappoint your parents, first make money. That's why I keep saying digital skills, right? It's about digital independence. That's what Pajam, the idea.
Say again, if you want to disappoint your parents, make money.
Yeah, because if you don't make money.
If you want to disappoint, okay, if you want the freedom, if you want
essentially
to take your chance. Okay.
Yeah, so money is not about money, especially at your age. It's about freedom. Money buys you the opportunity to learn more skills, to figure out what you want to do, to invest, to literally learn about the world, right? You need a little bit of tutorial money to learn about the world. Parents often don't give you tutorial money. Tutorial as in those games, you have this tutorials.
Yeah, you need tutorial money to invest in things and
to try to get burned.
Invest as in like learn, invest in your own learning, the actionable hands-on learning, which is not happening in college. You just want the similar kind of money, and then you want time. Time and money is all you want, and you got to request that time off. And it's not going to be a pleasant conversation. They might not be happy towards the end of it, but you need your 12 to 18 months, because in those 12 to 18 months, something like a Snapchat could be born. I'm not pushing you to start up, but Snapchat was born something like that. No one would have agreed. I wouldn't have agreed.
Yeah, and dude, I think this is a Jordan Peterson thing, right? One of the things, and this is more for male kids, right? In a family, what is your social rank? In every situation, your brain tracks your social rank. In a family, with your dad and mom, whatever, your social rank is always going to be a minimum of 3, right? You're going to be third in rank, so you never get to make the decisions. Third rank never makes the decisions, always first rank that makes most of the decisions. Because you cannot make these decisions, I prefer for people to move out. If you can make a little bit of money, move out and work there, maybe meet your parents once in a while, whatever, you're rank 1. If you move out, it's just you alone, or maybe you and some flatmates, you get to be rank 1 or at least equals with 2-3 other people, right? You do not have to always be in that under the thumb of your dad or whatever. And the advantage of that is you are both responsible for your decisions as well as you are the only one who has to make your own decisions. To me, that part of my life was luckily, I've always stayed outside. I've always stayed far away from my parents. It's not because I don't like my parents or anything like that, but because I have full, sweet ability to take all the decisions, make my mistakes, learn, fail. And one of the things that parents are very against is you failing. They're very scared of you failing because what will other people say? Right? And this is an Indian thing, right? Like Indian parents are most afraid of their children failing. They're more afraid of you failing than you failing and succeeding. Right? They don't want you to fail at all. They want it to look very pristine in the eyes of the public. Unfortunately, that's not possible. You cannot succeed without a few failures at least. Name one person who didn't have a failure. Ratan Tata?
Everyone had
plenty of failures. Me, plenty of failures. Elon Musk, plenty of failures.
Right? Very visible failures.
Very visible failures. People have thrown stones at him, even when he's succeeding.
That happens to Indian cricket team as well. Dhoni performs bad, you'll pelt stones on his house and you
have to get
burn
used
his
to that.
effigy. So failure is fine, but I think coming to the main point, you said moving out is essential, and I want to just state out the mental benefits of moving out, or why the mental health reasons for moving out. Because see, there is a rift going on between you and parents. They are saying some things that you don't like, and things are not nice, right? And it wouldn't matter so much. It wouldn't stress you out so much if you were away. If you're at house, you're facing them every day. You're 24 hours.
Any small thing they say, it will play on in your head.
Because you're seeing them every day, and when you see the person, you see the emotions attached, and it gets very murkier. So if you can move out of sight, out of mind.
Suppose your dad is working in whatever place, and he's having issues with his boss, and he brings that home, he says something about that, that's going to affect you for sure. You try your best, like it would affect me. You will always try to solve their problems, in which case you are not solving your problem, you're going to be lost. Right? So you need that space and that time, but the Indian culture is such that the kids should stay with their parents and should be a big happy family. That never works out. Trust me, those houses are extraordinarily political. If there's a family business, then the family business does okay because they're like 5-6 people. You don't need to hire external employees. But if you try anything other than running a small family business with your parents and an extended family, it doesn't work. You need that space and time. And I know parents don't want to hear this. They have this happy idea of a large family, and I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from Indian serials, right? America learned this, and a lot of Indian parents might say America is bad, and a lot of things about America are not doing so well. But the nuclear family has a lot of advantages, right? Small families are able to take independent decisions. Large families, one person needs to literally do a darshan. In literally, will be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to start a business, I'm going to start a business. I know a person, to start a business, that person needs to go and literally talk to like 15 different uncles and say, hey, I'm starting this, I'm starting this, I'm starting this, is that okay, is that okay, right? And that is unfortunately not great for you. It prevents you from failing
Exposure.
and taking risk,
Yeah.
right? And that's a problem.
Finally, I think to come to the end of it, we've talked about how the mindset needs to change. I think all the above points have been about how the mindset needs to change. I want to talk about something at present. See, if you're living with this and if you're living under the pressure and you can't move out right now, because to move out you need money, right? He said to be able to disappoint your parents, you need to earn money. But yeah, if you cannot do that, if you cannot do that in the foreseeable future, not in 8 months, not in a year, not in 2 years, not in 3 years, it's okay. Sometimes you have to deal with pain. Sometimes you can't always get rid of pain, of the pressure. Sometimes you have to deal with it, and when you deal with it, you have to manage it, you have to reduce it, you have to lessen the blow. If you're in that situation, don't consider yourself a loser. It's okay. We end up there. In fact, getting your way is actually a privilege. You don't always get your way. Not all people who landed in family business are losers. You accept it. How do you accept it? I think for the moment, until you can get your way, journal your thoughts. Write down, take out the emotions on a piece of paper, or get a friend circle to vent. Take the stress out. Don't just kill yourself inside. I think, that's how you can manage it.
And one last thing to add, right? In the tribal era, right, when humans lived in tribes, one of the things that was common was the son, and unfortunately in the tribes, daughters were not allowed to go and do whatever they wanted. But I think in this era, it's both sons and daughters. But I'm just giving you an example of back then. The sons necessarily had to go out and adventure. At the age of 18, they literally had to go out into the world, adventure, and bring back one thing that was representative of their adventure. Maybe it could be a lion's head or whatever it is, so that the village respected them.
Bring it back to parents, or
bring it back to the village, right? So how are you going to adventure if you're going to be stuck inside your house, right? So think about that. And it's stuck inside the house is more a metaphorical thing. You don't have to go out on the road. But by stuck in the house, I mean if you're stuck under your parents, listening to their problems, you'll always be dependent, right? And the goal, think about it, right? You want to take care of them later in life. If you want to take care of them later in life, how are you going to do that if you're constantly dependent? First, you become independent so that when your parents are in their 60s and 70s, they can become dependent on you, right? It's a circle. The world is a circle. Right now, you're just making it a straight line, right? By saying I'm under them.
I think one thing is very important in the whole of this thing, and Varun tried to throw light at it, that you have to go out, you have to do that adventure, and whatever that small little event is, it could be a conversation, it could be a 6-month sabbatical, or whatever, where they allow you to do your thing, or even the conversation. It's a very strong event, in your relationship with your parents, and that event has to happen because this is going to determine the change in their mindset towards you, that okay, my boy or my girl is an adult now. All right, like always, you should like and subscribe and press the bell icon so that you don't miss us ever again.
Yeah,
and
don't forget to hit the bell icon, because if you don't hit the bell icon, you don't get notifications. If you don't get notifications, you will never hear from us, right?
Yeah.
It is literally us versus cringe content, and cringe content is winning right now because there's just so much volume. There's like 99% of YouTube is cringe content, 1% is
bad
people
advice.
like us.
Yeah.
So please tip the scales, and the way to tip the scales
This is good advice.
All right.
Cringe content is bad advice. What's your question for today? Like always, guys, towards the end of these episodes, we give a gift box. This is going to start shipping in February. This is a gift box for you guys. We ask you a question. If you respond well,
If you give us an answer that we think
You
benefits the community and you can do it live right now, I'm watching my phone, um, you will get
A gift box.
a gift box. But if you're not subscribed, if you haven't hit the bell icon, then hey, you're not eligible for the competition. So are you ready? Is your phone in your hand?
Fastest fingers first.
Is your computer, like some people, you know, when you,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think a keyboard
There's
is
no
faster
fastest
than-
fingers first. I'm just kidding. You the best reply.
You have-
not the best, the most interesting reply.
1 minute. You have 1 minute, okay? The question is, can you tell us if you've successfully negotiated with your parents and got your way, what is one technique that you think everybody else should know about? Right? If we like your technique, you win this gift box. So help others. Your time starts now.
Now, one actionable tactic that has worked for you and you think it'll work for others as well. Something that they should know, something that we've not mentioned. The timer is going on. I feel like a telebrand salesperson right now. But bring in your responses. We're watching. Oh, there's a music already playing. We got that.
Oh,
done.
okay, okay.
Yeah, we've evolved.
Is there a timer on the screen? How long is the timer?
2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Just do it.
Just do it. That's not great advice. Convince that. Guys,
Tactic.
please give us a phrase or like a couple of lines. Give us an actionable tactic. Don't just give us gyan.
Someone says convince. Art of convincing. No. Give me something actionable that I can
I'll
do.
give you an example. I made a slide deck that helped me convince my parents. That's a cool idea. So give us good ideas that have worked, right? Or just good ideas. Don't just say art of convincing
Just
people.
lie to them, tell them when it works out. I don't know. I don't want to comment on that, but perhaps Varun can. Lie to them is an advice.
I don't think that's good advice.
Proof of work.
Showing parents a greater hype.
Something that we haven't mentioned, guys, like make money and tell them, that's very elementary and I think we've spoken about it. Something that we've not spoken, something you think that, fuck, these guys missed it. We should beep that.
How much time do we have left?
I'm not finding, did you find any good one?
No.
None.
No.
We're still watching. The responses are in. Stop sending any more responses, but we're still watching.
Okay. I found a good one.
What's that?
Okay.
Interesting.
So,
It's an example.
yeah, it's an example, but I think I like it. This is by Hemang Pant. Right? Hemang Pant, you win an amazing box. Just DM Avalon Meta page on Instagram and with your address and stuff like that, we'll send it over to you in Feb. What Hemang Pant said was, he wanted a computer, I assume, and he said, I made a 3D model of our house for proving that I can do animation. Now I got a good computer. I think that's cool, right? Like, if you can say that, hey, mom and pop, I need this tool, and they're not willing to buy you that tool, and you show them that you're not using it for gaming, instead you're using it for something valuable, and show them, see, this is what I made. These are the things that I made. Your parents are more likely to convert.
So
And
link it to architecture and show that it's monetizable. That's what the guy was trying to do.
yeah, so show, not tell, right? And I think that's why slide deck, right? You're not telling parents, you're showing them. So I think, Hemang, congratulations. And that's it for us today.
All right.
Can we hit the extra?